Hey, it's Kesha. Welcome and welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you about the difference between affirmations and introduce the concept of Afformations. Affirmations, as you are hopefully all well aware, are statements and phrases that we say to ourselves, speaking in the direction of who and what we want to become and experience, right? So, a great affirmation is, um, well, I mean, you all have so many, and now I can't think of any. But think of like a salesperson, I am selling everything today, or I am healthy and radiant, right? So, whatever the affirmation is, and just think of whatever common one that you use. Um, there's always like as much as it's a beautiful concept and it's something that you definitely want to experience and want to become, you say it in this excitement, but in the back of your mind there is this, well, no, you're not, that's not true, that's not real, that's not. And it's like, so you have this tennis match that's going back and forth with yourself, where you really do want to think, speak, and believe this thing about yourself until it becomes true. But because it's not yet true, your mind combats it. And so you have this internal battle. And, since we do get the composite of our ideas and emotions for every step that we take forward, when the mind tells us, no, that's not true, it's taking us back a little bit. And so it may seem like, even though we've been saying affirmations for a long time, they don't get us anywhere, right? And it seems like, well, those don't work. Well, it's not that they don't work. It's just a bit of an older concept. And, affirmations are to make firm, right? And they're to make firm a belief or a state that you want to be in. But because of that back and forth, we sometimes miss the mark. And so that causes frustration and disappointment with the discipline. And so we stop saying them. Affirmations, on the other hand, are about bringing things into form. And rather than it be a statement of something you want to experience, it is phrased in the form of a question. And this idea of affirmations comes to us from Noah St. John. And he talks about how he got this great idea in the shower, which is really the place where all ideas come from. I take to calling my shower the font of wisdom and ideas because that's where they come from. So I'm glad to see he's one of my people and he gets them there too. But yeah, he came up with this idea because thinking about the same concept, he had been a student of personal development for a while and was seeing how people and himself wasn't getting traction with his affirmations, and thought, well, if the universe is loving and kind and bestows upon us that which we ask, regardless of what it is, right? So that's why we need to be conscious and intentional. Then it behooves us to ask questions of the things we want to experience. And I've talked about this before in previous videos. So with realizing that we are going to be given and shown the answer to whatever our question is, it behooves us to ask better questions and to ask questions in the direction of the thing we want to experience. Not unlike the law of correspondence, which is the desire and result, or the question and answer, are of the same substance and simultaneously available. Now, when I was first introduced to the law of correspondence, it was just like the coolest thing. And everybody talks about the law of attraction, the law of attraction. Yeah, that's one of them, and that's a good one. So we don't knock it. But I'm telling you, the law of correspondence, look, let me just tell you the story. So the day that I learned about it in seminary class, of course, our homework was to go out and experience it, to do it, because, we don't just talk about these concepts. We actually go out and have to make them real. So with the law of correspondence, the desire and the result and the question and the answer are of the same substance and immediately available. Or something, And so I left class and I'm like, all right, it's a cool concept. I like the idea, but how in the world am I going to get, like, what? How am I going to do my homework? And so on the way home, I stopped at one of my favorite antique stores. And I'm walking through and I'm looking at stuff, and then I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about my homework assignment and like, what am I going to do? How am I going to what? How am I going to get this done? And as I'm walking through the store, I'm looking around and I'm like, this is a huge antique store. They don't usually come like this. This building had to have been something else before it was this. And I'm thinking to myself about that. And I'm like, I wonder what this building was before it became the antique store. And I had not even had the thought formed. I hadn't finished the thought in my mind when two women who were standing over by the way were talking amongst themselves. They work at the store. And one of them said to the other, well, before this was an antique store, it was a grocery store. And I was like, are you kidding me? It's like that? Talk about of the same substance and immediately available, right? I'm not kidding. I hadn't even formed all the words in my head before the answer was given to me. From then on, law of correspondence became my friend. And it is my favorite law. Truly. If you want, since I focus so much on manifestation and manifesting things and bringing, what I want to me, as opposed to me chasing after everything and, wanting to live in a certain state of grace. Law of correspondence is chef's kiss in achieving those particular goals. So I live on it quite a bit. And what I like about affirmations is they're formed in the form of a question. And they're typically why and how questions. And so I wrote up a couple of examples that I wanted to share with you. So for instance, your living situation isn't ideal in what you want it to be. An affirmation for that would be, I am living in my right and perfect place. I am living in my right and perfect place. But you can see if you are living in what is not your right and perfect place, your mind is going to see what it sees and says, no, that's not true. And it makes it harder to get out of that space and to have the things happen for you that need to happen in order to move you forward. If we phrase it instead as an affirmation, where we ask the question, then the question becomes, how is it that all of a sudden I am living in my right and perfect place? Why is it that all of a sudden I am living in my right and perfect place? Can you see the difference in making a statement that is not true for you in the moment, where your physical reality that you're seeing tells you that's not true, versus asking the universe, right? Asking God, how is it that this has happened? If all your work is to do is to ask the question and create a receptive space to receive, the activity that has to happen is God's, right? That's the universe's, step to do. And so if I ask those questions, how is it that all of a sudden I'm living in my right and perfect place? Then what I'm looking forward to with joy and excitement are the experiences and the things and the blessings that have to happen that move me into my right and perfect place. And by adding in the time component of all of a sudden, like we're not waiting for it to happen at some point in the future. If we're disappointed in where we are and what we're doing, then we want change now, not later. Like, who of us is? No. If you knew that $1 million had your name on it, do you want it now or in 20 years? Like, really? Come on. So how is it that all of a sudden I am living in my right and perfect place? Another one, if you are trying to get your bills paid, right? I used to have the affirmation, I am paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace. And I said that for the longest. And, step by step, yes, I was seeing some movement, but it was slow. And it was never as big as I wanted. Come on, it's money, because you can never have too much. And then I was introduced to affirmations, and it became not, I am paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace, but how is it that all of my bills are paid on time, in full, and in peace? Why is it that all of my bills are paid on time, in full, and in peace? And because I'm asking that question, I want to see the answer to that result. I'm excited about that outcome. Manifestation moves on emotions. And so the higher and brighter you are on the emotional scale, joy, excitement, expectation versus, disappointment and depression, you have the greater chance of manifesting and manifesting more quickly. And so asking these questions, how and why, in the direction of the thing you want to experience, facilitates that movement. And so I'm so grateful to Noah for this idea and this discipline, and I encourage you all to try it. Another, like, if you want to add a little something extra to the secret sauce, I encourage you to take your question, write it down, right? And emphasize each word of the question. And so you're reciting it not 20 times of, how is it that all my bills are paid on time, in full, and in peace? But you're repeating it several times, stressing different words in the question. How is it that I'm paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace? How is it that I'm paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace? How is it that I'm paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace? How is it that I'm paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace? How is it that I'm paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace? How is it that I'm paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace? How is it that I'm paying all of my bills on time, in full, and in peace, right? With the stress on each different word, you get a slightly different answer, all of which would be successful to that particular endeavor. So I encourage you to try this out with some of the affirmations that you've been working with that maybe haven't been working for you lately. Change them into the form of how and why questions. And then, once you have that question written, stress each word in that question slightly differently so that you get the full measure of the blessed response that you're looking for. And I want to just mention, how questions deal with the mechanics and the process. Like, how is it? So by what actions is this thing going to happen, right? Why questions deal with the state of being and the underlying thought process or relationship to the thing that you're talking about. So that's why we ask both how questions, because we want to know the definite process by which universe, show me the process by which this good thing is going to happen for me. And then the why question, why is my natural state of being at this elevated level that I get to experience all of these blessings? Affirmations. We now move into Afformations. We're going to bring it into form. I'm going to make this offer out to anybody. If you are working on an affirmation or Afformation and you want some help crafting one that's absolutely perfect for you, send me a text. I'll leave my number in the description box. Send me a text that you want to create the perfect affirmation, and we will either have a 30-minute conversation or an intense text conversation to get you the right and perfect result that you're looking for. And we'll just do it at like $45. I will put all of those details in the description box, so check there. If you already have a set of affirmations that you want to work with, put them in the description box or put them in the comments, because others might draw inspiration from them and you could be helping someone else. And this channel isn't all about me. It's about all of us collectively coming together to help each other. So let us do that. All right. This has been cool. This has been fun. We'll be back. We'll do it again. I love you. Bye.